I was getting really angry sometimes without realizing what it was. I was like, why am I upset at this? I just need to take a chill pill. I would say I was 50. It wasn't really on my 50th birthday, but that was a big year. And I was 50 years old. And it was really just all of a sudden I was driving through town here and it was cold. So it was probably, I guess, the October or something. It was getting cold out. And all of a sudden I was getting really, really hot in the car. And I was I was putting the window down and I thought my heated seat was on and I was starting to try and pull off my ski jacket and my sweater. And it was really hard because I had a seatbelt on, I was driving, but I was like, what is going on? And I thought I was sick, basically. I thought I had a flu coming on. And then it went away. And then I remembered all the conversations of my girlfriends having with me in the locker room back in the day. And I'm like, oh, here we go.
This is it.
This is it. I was getting really angry sometimes without realizing what it was. I was like, why am I upset at this? I just need to take a chill pill. And then, and I'd look at my husband and he'd be kind of looking and he's like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm pissed off. And he's like, okay, don't know why. And then of course, talking to my girlfriends, they're like, oh yeah, that could be one of the things. And I started really monitoring it. And I realized that, I guess this was when I was just this year. So when I turned 55, all of a sudden it was kind of a little bit angry, anxiety, just getting a little more emotional than normal and knowing that I had to just kind of check in with myself a lot more. So I had to check in and then I realized, I need to meditate, which I don't do well at. So I just really decided, not only do I need to worry about my diet, it was something that I had to start really focusing on. Because I was getting more sore, I was noting that my body was changing. And so I knew that I was going through a massive change. And so I started looking at everything that was going on around me and my own personal self and knew that if I was just going to start taking care of myself, right away. I can't just keep taking care of everybody else all the time, which I do love. And I will probably continue to do so, but yeah. Well, the first thing I did was find out what exactly menopause does, because I didn't know what it actually does. I knew what estrogen was and stuff like that, but I knew all of a sudden I read in there because I like to go for runs and I like to, and I like to cocktail and party and all that. Because I started looking at the list of the do's and don'ts. I'm like, oh, okay, how do I work on that list? The no alcohol, the exercise, the diet, and no smoking. That's not a problem, but so I switched to non-alcohol, or I switched to no sugar alcohol, which is tequila, which helps with the mood too. But I really looked at estrogen and how it changes your body and how it can no longer, I did a little bit where it no longer helps with your muscles. And so I'm like, okay, I need to start weight training. I need to start lifting weights. I need to get my body strong. There's 40 years between my daughter and I had her at 40. So for me, I do the math and when she's 40 or when she's 50, I'll be this age and I don't want to be broken or fall apart. And I want to be strong for myself and for my family later in life too. So I really started working out and working on weights and changing my diet, making sure I was getting more sleep, even though I love staying up to midnight or 1. I was trying to go to bed a little earlier and just really those kind of things, just checking in, drinking more water, resting more, and not stressing. I really had to remove stress. So the biggest thing for me was I've worked in hospitality for 25 years and it was exhausting. And I decided, you know what, I can't do this anymore. So I decided I owned a couple businesses, that was any easier. And I just cut that out. I sold my business in May of this year when I turned 55. And I'm working a job now where I just work in an office. And when I'm done at the end of the day, I go home and I have time for me. I have time for my dog. I have time for my daughter and I'm relaxed and I have more time to just breathe and just live life and have more time with my husband too, which is nice. And that has been really huge for me. Taking care of myself. I think that's the only wisdom. You kind of do that at the beginning of your life and then you kind of go through steps throughout. You take care of people and then I guess it circles back to what we were saying before, but I guess now I'm take care of me and what goes on around me and close to home.
Thanks for watching this episode. For more menopause stories like this, subscribe below and don't forget to click the bell so you are notified when we drop a new episode. Did you connect with this story? Let us know by adding your comment and by sharing and liking it. Shared storytelling helps us learn what's happening to our bodies and reminds us we are not alone.